Well, hey everyone, Joe Newell, DanRiverSports.com. Today I have a very special guest with us. Beck Jr. Has joined me. We got connected by way of a mutual friend, Donald Smith, who many of you know. And when I heard his story, or at least in part heard his story, it's right in line with all the things that we want to promote through DanRiverSports.com. It has the element of sport, but it also has much more that's, in a lot of ways, honestly, much more valuable to all of us than just what we achieve on a field or on a court or a track somewhere. So, Barry, welcome, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Joe.
Well, thanks for coming in, man. You and I just talking ahead of time already. I'm like, man, I could hang out a little bit and hear your story, but
yes,
we're going to capture it today.
Okay.
We're going to talk about what's on your shirt, which is representative of the book that you've done.
Yes.
Danville native.
Born and raised from Danville, Virginia. Started in Camp Grove community, then eventually moved to Arnett Boulevard. Began my schooling at Woodbury Hills Elementary School.
Yeah.
Then I went to Westwood Middle School. Then I finished off at Langston Focus Center, my 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade year.
Okay.
So in that time.
And currently, you're living where?
I currently live in Richmond, Virginia. Math specialist in Henrico County for Arthur Ashe Jr. Elementary School.
All right.
Yeah.
And how long have you been there?
This is my 3rd year. I've been in the teaching field for 12 years now, but this is my 3rd year being a math coach in Henrico County.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna go backwards a little bit.
Okay.
And find out about your journey to being a teacher in Henrico County.
Yes.
Does that sound cool?
It's fine. That's fine.
All right. So, grew up in Danville. You and I talking beforehand. School wasn't necessarily like your most favorite thing growing up.
It definitely wasn't. School was it was like it wasn't second nature to me to go to school. It was difficult. It was very difficult. A lot of external factors played a part in me not reaching my full potential while I was in school. It was less on education, more on sports and being the popular guy. You know, I wasn't good at either one. But
I didn't even try, so I'm not gonna fight you on that one.
Yes, sir. But I ended up my senior year in high school at Langston, not knowing exactly what was going to come next. Tried out for the varsity basketball team and ended up not making the team. You know.
How did that hit you? I mean, when you're young and you don't make a team, it's hard.
I went home and cried because I felt like I really tried my hardest. Played 9th and 10th grade year, so it was like, I felt like, man, I just have to make the team.
Yeah.
So ended up not making the team. Wasn't good in classes in school, so I'm like, okay, so what am I gonna do? Like, I want to go to college, but my grades aren't good, and I can't get an athletic scholarship. So what's next? So my senior year at Langston, I had a health and physical education teacher, which her name was Jackie Harris. And she was like, well, Barry, you didn't make the basketball team, but how about you come out and run track for me? Went out there, was skeptical at first. I was like, okay, I've never done this before, Coach Harris. She's like, well, just try it. Yeah. Went out, ran track, loved it, but I wasn't the top-notch athlete in that either. Yeah. During the fall, indoor track season. Ended up transitioning, doing spring track, and still wasn't doing the best. However, I was introduced to Donald Smith. Donald saw something in me that I really didn't even see in myself. Yeah. He took me out on the football field, threw a couple passes with me, and said, "Hey man, you got pretty good hands. You ever thought about playing football?" I'm like, man, I ain't never played football before, let alone this is my senior year. I can't play. Right. He was like, well,
season's over already.
Season over? Yeah, we in track. I'm about to graduate. He was like, well, you could go to school and walk on. I'm like, okay. What school are we talking about? Maybe Averett, Division III, minimum. He was like, well, I went to Liberty University and I have a connection at Liberty University. Maybe you should try to go there and play. I'm like, that's Division I, ain't it? He was like, yeah.
I was gonna say, I mean, I played Division III, so I understand. But that must have seemed like the moon to you. Like, I haven't played football since I was a kid, and now his Coach Smith talking about you need to consider walking on at a Division I school.
Yes, and I was like, man, I mean, am I that good? I mean, I haven't hit anyone in years. Like, what's going on? it's a foreign language. Luckily, Coach Harris came to me and said, "Well, Barry, you have. I wish I would have gotten you in an earlier grade because I see the potential there. I just need you to see it."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, Coach, I can't afford this. I mean, I don't have no scholarships. I don't have academic or athletic scholarships. So how can I get in?" She was like, "Well, you take out a loan." Like, I don't know nothing about no loan at this point. I mean, my parents didn't go to school. My mom graduated from high school. My father had a 10th grade education. So they couldn't even like help me or give me the guidance that was needed.
Right.
You know, so I ended up taking both of their advices and ended up going to Liberty University.
Okay.
Took out a loan. It was okay. It was okay. I didn't know what I was getting myself into at that moment in time. Because if you don't have the right people guiding you when you first go into college, you're going to get yourself in a financial burden that you're unaware of, especially with unsubsidized loans. Because those interest rates start the second you sign off on
right. Yeah, you don't
that
get
loan.
You don't get that deferment until you finish school.
You don't get that deferment.
Right.
But me not being knowledgeable of that, I'm just taking the money. Get to Liberty, walk on, make the team. Coach Rocco saw something in me. He was like, okay, we can do something with that.
Now, honestly, how surprised in yourself were you that you walked on to the Division I school program and made the team?
Well, the summer before, me and Donald trained all summer in the weight room. Let me remind you, Joe, I've never touched weights. Never touched weights. And I'm about to go to a D1 school, never lifted any type of weight or anything, just a scrawny 205 kid.
Wow.
However, Donald gave me a workout regimen and gave me drills to do while I was at home. This is going to prepare you for what you're ready to see. So I abided by everything that he showed me and told me to do. So when I went out for the team, the walk-on team, I didn't have any film.
Right.
You had other students that were there that had film from high school.
Yeah, right. Because you got to promote yourself too, right?
Definitely. So because I didn't have that film, they were like, "Well, did you play?" I'm like, "No, but this is what y'all here for to show me." Well, Barry, this is college. We're not showing kids how to play football anymore. So, but luckily they saw something in me. They say they liked my speed and size. I was just raw. They wanted to work with me.
Okay.
So, walked on the team, played for about 4 weeks, but then some things that I learned while I was here started to creep in. Not taking school seriously, not taking football seriously, staying out late, not doing what I was supposed to, even though the opportunity was there for me.
Right.
I just didn't know how to take advantage of that opportunity. Because again, coming from my background, I didn't have that person saying, "Hey, come on, this is the direction you need to go in."
Yeah.
You know, so with that being said, after being on the team for about 4 weeks, I ended up getting kicked off the team. My grades weren't good. I wasn't attending study hall. They were saying, "Hey, man, we can't keep you because you're not taking it serious. We took a chance on you, even though we knew your background. However, you're not taking it seriously, so we're gonna have to let it go." And there was some other things going on while at home that had my mind deterred from actually Liberty University, the football team. My sister was ill. She had just had a massive heart attack.
Man.
And she was my only sibling growing up. You know, she's my older sister.
I was saying, you told me off camera that you guys were close.
Yeah, very close. Me and her were very close. But that hit home. And that's all I kept thinking about. So I ended up coming back home after my first year at Liberty and staying and attending Danville Community College. Because I always wanted to stay in school and get a degree. Yeah. I just didn't know how to.
Right.
You know, I didn't know the financial part of it. My sister ended up passing while I was at Danville Community College, and she left a child here, which is my nephew. He was around 2 years old, and just that burden, it was on me, you know. Donald Smith and Patrick Saunders, he was actually one of the personal trainers at the City Army downtown. Yeah. Danville kept me focused though. Just going to the gym every day, keeping my mind on the task at hand, getting back into school and playing football.
Yeah.
Back in school, even though no experience. That 4 weeks at Liberty, that I don't even count that as experience. That's experience. But I saw a goal.
Yeah.
And I was like, this could possibly get me somewhere. Mm-hmm. I just got to keep working, keep my mind focused. Those two were vital. And
we all need
where
people.
I am
we
right
all
now.
need people in our lives
Yes,
like that, man.
Definitely, where I am right now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be nowhere near where I am right now if it wasn't for Donald Smith and Patrick Summers. Mm-hmm. Both of them. So what ended up happening, I reached out to a few colleges, and because I played that 4 weeks at Liberty University, they were like, well, if he can play D1, he definitely can play D2 or D3, you know? So Coach Andrew Faison at Virginia State University reached out to me. He said, hey, you want to come here and walk on?
Yeah.
We would love to have you.
Okay.
So, Joe, I had like a 2-3 when I left Danville Community College. Danville Community College. I was still skeptical and on the fence. My mom was like, hey, you need to get a job.
Yeah.
I work in Dick's Sporting Goods. You're getting older. We got to figure something out.
Right.
Either you're going to go to school or you're going to go to the military. So for about a week straight, right here at Danville Mall, I went to the Air Force recruiter's office. Just, hey, look, I got to do something. Was no one there. And it was nobody but God. It was nobody but God. God had something in store for me that I couldn't even see. Nobody was there. And if somebody would have been there.
Yeah, which is like, I mean, which is really unusual because the military is really, has been for a long time, really looking for people.
Yes.
And for the recruiter not to be present is really unusual.
No one was there, Joe.
Wow.
And I'm like, is this normal? I thought y'all was looking for people. Like, what is going on here?
Right, yeah.
But no one was there. No one was there, and I was like, okay, so maybe it is I'm supposed to go to Virginia State University. I don't have the money for it.
Right.
But I guess I'm supposed to go to Virginia State. So, ended up going up there, took out another loan. Took out a couple more loans. I'm in debt.
Yeah.
To my ears in debt. Not even knowing it. Because I'm just unfamiliar with all of this.
Right.
Took out a loan. He said, well, you're going to have to sit out the fall semester, which is football season, and walk on in the spring. We don't have walk-on trials in the fall. All right. So GPA was around 2.8 my first semester at Virginia State. After I left Virginia State that fall, came back home, and my father ended up passing. Father ended up passing, and I was like, man, maybe the school thing just isn't for me.
Yeah.
You know.
Can I ask what the time frame was between like losing your sister to losing your dad?
It was a year and a half.
Gosh.
It was a year and a half. Both played vital roles in my life. Growing up, my mom was at work majority of the time. So the people who attended basketball games, baseball games here in Danville was my sister and my father. Whenever I got home from school, it was my sister and my father there, you know.
Right.
So they were very, all three of us were very close, you know. And to lose both of them within a year and a half time frame, it hit kind of different.
Yeah.
It hit kind of different, you know. But luckily my mother was strong, and she was like, hey, I want you to finish this.
Wow.
I know you want to come back home, make sure I'm okay, but I'm okay. I need you to finish this though. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I will try to get my degree. I do my best.
Yeah.
I won't disappoint you. So with that being said, that gave me that extra motivation. Spring came, walked on to the football team, made the football team again. He saw something in me too that I ain't seen in myself. Come back that fall, training camp, spring camp. This is my first summer camp playing football.
Yeah.
Never played before. Got out there, scorching heat, ended up getting Bell's palsy.
Oh.
And for those who don't know what Bell's palsy is, it's when the right side of my face was numb and couldn't move.
Yeah.
So my athletic trainer said, you can't play with this. So that whole season, I had to sit out.
Wow.
Because, again, my body was unfamiliar with the heat of football and being out on the field majority of the time. So with that being said, that whole season I had to sit out. actually didn't get the opportunity to play. You know, so working on my grades, checking in when I can with my mom and my nephew here in Danville, and just trying to make something happen.
Yeah.
So spring comes. At that point, I was playing safety at Virginia State, and coach said, I'm going to try something else. You bulked up a little bit since you've been here. You got up to about 230, 235. So let's move you to inside linebacker.
And you're how tall?
Oh, I'm 6 feet.
Yeah.
I'm 6 feet. And he's like, you're fast, but you have a basketball background. So your lateral movement is good for inside linebacker because all you have to do is shuffle. So let's just try you there. He tried me there in the spring. I did fantastic. I did well. The transition was just getting those big old linemen the ball.
Yeah.
When they running power and ISO, man, they get on you and they don't want to let you go.
No, it gets nasty in there now. Skinny people like me that play, you know, I'm just like, I'm going to stay way over here by the sideline while I just talk to the side judge and whoever this motor mouth is in front of me, you know, trying to get me off my game. But no, we didn't go down in that area. That's
It was
But I will say this, that's where the game's won.
Yes. It was a completely different transition.
Yeah.
Because having those 320-pound old linemen run up on you and grab you and hold you, man, I was like, man, dude, I'm second guessing playing football. This is different. This is different. Going from 101s to 907,
yeah,
whole nother ball game. Enjoyed it though. Enjoyed it. Coach Faison actually found a scholarship for me.
Oh wow.
D2 is not full.
Right.
You know, it's partial, but it alleviated some of those loans that I had when I initially got to Virginia State. So not any loans anymore. Playing football. School is going well.
Had you found something school-wise at that point that you enjoyed studying, or you thought maybe this is where the direction I can go in, like vocationally or something?
Well, I initially wanted to be an accountant. Got to Virginia State and was like, this is too boring. I love numbers.
Love numbers, but not accounting.
No, I'm a people person. I need to be in front of people. So another Danville native, Joyce Glaze, actually was a professor at Virginia State University in the education department. And she was like, hey, why don't you try teaching? Like, whoa, pause. I wasn't good in school.
Yeah.
I'm going to be someone's teacher?
Yeah.
What is this? I don't know what's going on here. She was like, well, just try it.
Yeah.
You know, and if you don't like it, hey, you can always change your major.
Yeah.
Get into the field, education field, went on my practicum hours at Chimborazo Elementary School in Richmond City. And I was like, man, these kids are just like me. And they looked up to me. I remember the first day just going into that elementary school. It was Miss Lundy, a first grade teacher. Oh man, I went in Miss Lundy's room, little 6-year-olds running around, ragged, crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, how I get these kids to listen to me?
Yeah, like, is there a magic wand I can wave over these kids?
Definitely. She was so poised though. Never raised her voice. I was like, man, if I can master that, I'd be powerful. But it was very impactful because just seeing those kids see someone like them.
Yeah.
Just dealing with the difficulties that they dealt with, that they deal with on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I can relate to them a little bit differently.
Yeah.
You know, I know where they're coming from. When the boys get upset and mad, just having those conversations with them inside the classroom, even at 6 years old.
Yeah.
And because they don't know how to articulate how they feel at that age, they tend to do things like that because they don't know how to express how they're feeling.
Right, sure.
You know, so just having those conversations with them saying, hey, it's okay. Some people may see it as a behavior issue, but I see it as, I don't know how to express myself at this age.
Right.
So let me learn how to express myself and show you that, hey, this is a problem. I'm having a problem right now.
Yeah.
You know, so after that, after doing those practicum hours at Chimborazo Elementary School, I was like, hey, this is something that I would like to get into. Not the older kids.
Yeah.
I want to hit them while they're young.
Yeah.
To build them up. Because around like 12, 13 years old, your mind is kind of made up. You still have impactful people that come into your life.
Right.
But your characteristics, the way you behave, that's kind of made up around that time. So, still playing football, doing my practicum hours, ended up student teaching elementary education in 1st and 4th grade. Loved it. Ms. Glasper Thomas, fantastic teacher.
This is all in the Richmond area?
All in the Richmond area.
Okay.
All in the Richmond area. So ended up graduating 2013 on Mother's Day. May 13th, 2013. My mom was ecstatic.
Yeah.
Because I still remember when she told me to keep going. Don't let what's happening affect you.
Yeah.
You know, because you have a goal. You have a goal. Times aren't going to always be ideal in
Right.
life. Things are going to happen.
I don't know if there's ever any ideal times
Exactly.
in life, right? There might be moments where it's like, all right, things aren't bad right now, or people aren't coming at me with things, but yeah, man, your mom sounds like an amazing person.
She's an amazing woman, man. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here right now. Just in this moment. You know, when I was younger, people deliver information differently. I want to say that. They deliver information differently. She's the type that raises her voice to deliver information. Still love her to death. However, I learned the older I got
Yeah.
that was her way of communicating. You know, it isn't any wrong or right way.
Yeah.
That's just her way. And you just learn how to maneuver around the way she communicates. You know, and man, phenomenal woman. Love her to death. Love her to death.
Yeah.
Because I saw the work that she put in
Yeah.
growing up. And I was like, hey, this woman always preached to me, you want anything in life, you need to work. You got to work to get it.
Yeah.
Don't expect anybody to give you anything. You got to
Right.
get out there and work for it.
That's amazing. I
Yes.
mean, I think we all need to have that message reinforced.
Oh, yeah.
Even when you get older, man, there are days you get up and you go, you know what? Don't think I want to work for it today. Monday's Labor Day. I'm looking forward to that. But, you know, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. To have somebody that's fiercely in your corner like that, man, that's really good.
Oh, yes. Her and my aunts, my uncles, very close-knit family on both sides, my mother and my father's side.
Yeah.
Very close-knit family.
So do you have the teaching bug fully at this point?
So, okay.
I mean, it sounds like it, right?
Man, I have
It's
it.
like, loved it. I heard those words come out of your mouth.
Loved it. Loved the kids. However,
Yeah.
when I went in to student teach, it was the spring. So those rituals and routines had already been established
Right.
in the fall. So I didn't get them when they first came in and seeing that transition being made. I'm coming in like, oh, they come in like this every morning. They know to put their bags up, get started on their morning work. I'm
Yeah.
good.
It's all muscle memory at this point, right?
It's all
Yeah.
muscle memory. So I ended up signing my contract to be a first grade teacher in
Okay.
Richmond City, public schools, 2013 in August. Over B. Shepherd Elementary School, my first year, taught first grade.
Okay.
Got in there, chaos. First day, chaos. I'm losing it. I'm like, oh my, they're running around. I don't want to raise my voice, but I'm having to because this is new to me. I'm by myself. I don't have anyone in there to help me.
Right.
You know, so I'm like, oh my goodness, what can I do? What can I do? Luckily, Donald Smith, Danville Public School teacher, Jackie Harris, Danville Public School teacher, Miss Lundy, Miss Glasper Thomas, those people played a vital role because I can always pick up the phone
Yeah.
and say, hey, how do I fix this? And they have so much knowledge because they've been in it so long.
Yeah.
That I was like, okay. They were like, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. There's ways around everything. What do kids like? They like Simon Says. All right, so let's switch it. Mr. Beck Says. Okay, all right. And just play with them
Yeah.
to get them to do what you want.
Right.
Because thinking back at it, since like 6th grade, the way you teach kids, the way I was taught was always lecture style. So even when I'm getting in 1st grade, I'm up there pointing and teaching like, and I'm wondering and expecting them to just sit there like robots and just pay attention. They're 6. They have energy. That's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So it took some time. A lot of growing pains. I remember when I would get home from work, go to the food line, get a whole pack of Oreos and some milk, and just go home and go in.
Got some comfort food going on there, right?
Definitely some comfort food.
And probably had no question about whether you deserved that food at that point, right?
At that point in time.
You had totally earned it and then some.
Exactly. So it was a journey.
Yeah.
That first year. However, Miss Melissa Johnson, my principal at the time, and Mr. Dwayne Samuels, my assistant principal there, they saw something in me. They said, hey man, you just keep doing what you're doing. Keep coming. Keep showing up.
Yeah.
Because they need to see consistency.
Absolutely.
Because they're not seeing that consistency at home.
Right.
So because they are every day.
Yeah.
And you hold them to a high expectation.
Mm-hmm.
They listen to you. They love you. They're gonna show you they love you. Don't get me wrong. When you were at home and your mom said stuff that you didn't agree with, you would get a temper tantrum too.
Yeah.
You know? However, that's the only way you knew how to react to what she was trying to enforce in you at the time.
Yeah.
You know. So that first year I went through a lot of trials and tribulations.
Sure.
A lot of trials and tribulations. However, did good. All of my students were reading above grade level by the time they left first grade, which that was all that I really focused in on, which was fantastic.
I've worked some in the schools over the years, but I know that reading indicator early is a prime, I guess, piece of evidence to let you know how that kid's going to do down the line, right?
Exactly.
So that's awesome.
Yeah. So after that year was up, my principal called me in her office. She was like, "Hey, how you feel about teaching fourth grade?" Oh, hold up, what's going on? She's like, "Well, we need a strong teacher like you in that grade level. You're good. However, this is going to challenge you. You're going to need that challenge. Testing grade, you have to prepare them to take the standards of learning SOL assessment at the end of the school year.
Right.
Can you do it?" Like, yeah, I can do it. So she moved me my second year to fourth grade. And that's when I found my niche in mathematics.
Okay.
That first year in fourth grade. Because in first grade, you're teaching them foundational skills.
Right.
You're teaching them how to count on using concrete manipulatives, but it isn't any procedural mathematics still, so to say.
Yeah.
So once I got to fourth grade.
That love for numbers is now in play.
Yeah, it's in play. Going back to college, when I started off and I was an accountant, okay, I'm okay with numbers. Okay. And this is actually when I first met the illustrator of my book, Mandy Johnson. She had just graduated from North Carolina Wesleyan College. And she's originally from Richmond, Virginia. Okay. And this was her first year teaching, and she was daunted to teach fourth grade. So her first year teaching fourth grade, this is my second year teaching. However, I'm going to teach fourth grade as well.
Right.
When we initially met, connected and bonded right then and there. Both first year teaching a new grade level. And I just loved it. I loved it because with these kids, with first graders, they react to things differently. They don't know why they would bang their fist on the desk or just scream for no reason. Once you get to fourth grade, you're like 10, you start to realize this is why I'm behaving this way. I'm seeing things outside of school, externally, that's impacting me while I'm here. Yeah. So we could actually have these different types of conversations in the middle of class. It would be nothing for me to just stop class and ask, why are you behaving this way? You know, you're not going to get anything by misbehaving. Like, people aren't going to treat you any differently for misbehaving in school. We need to fix this. And this is the time to fix it this year. And as you grow, you're going to understand why I emphasized on this so much while I was inside the classroom. Definitely. So what I noticed was majority of the behavior issues was coming from the African American boys in the classroom. So I actually started an after-school program called the CLEAR program.
CLEAR program?
CLEAR. Character, Leadership, Excellence, Academics, and Rigor.
Okay.
Had to get them right. Take them away from everybody. Yeah. And just let's sit down and let's have conversations. And see, why are you acting this way in class? And the things that came out of some of the boys' mouth was just eye-opening. Well, I have to act like this. I'm not good at math. I can't read. They're just passing me on. Mm-hmm. And I know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. I'm going to transition into middle school, can't read.
Yeah.
Can't do math. What am I supposed to do, Mr. Beck? I get it. So to take that heat off of me while that teacher's talking, I'm going to do something to make sure they don't call on me in class.
So it's almost like they're trying to avoid the thing they know they don't understand by doing some other behavior.
So,
yeah.
Yes. So let me be a behavior issue in class.
Okay.
So that, hey, they're not going to keep me another year. They don't want this again. They don't want me slamming chairs.
I know it's not funny, but at the same time, my mind's like, it's like this 10-year-old, like, you don't want any more of this, man.
Yes.
You just
come in.
but no, gosh, now that you explain it that way, that makes a lot of sense, yeah.
So I'm going to behave this way. They're going to pass me along, and I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. You can't suspend me, but so much. I have IEP. You know, this is why my mom made me have a child fine in 2nd grade. Because I have emotional problems, and y'all not helping me to fix them. This is a 4th grader talking to me.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this kid like, well, if you know all this, why can't you take all that you heard adults and apply it to reading and math? Because you have it.
Yeah.
It's just the presentation has to be different.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. I'm big on presentation. Everything in life is a learned behavior.
Yeah.
We learn how to walk, talk, eat, do everything. So you can learn math. You can learn how to read. But maybe the way it's been presented to you isn't the best.
Right.
You know? So just having those conversations with them.
Just the awareness, though, at that age.
Yes.
I mean, I remember being 10.
Yeah.
I don't remember having that kind of awareness of myself and things, whether I was good or bad at something. I mean, you kind of know that, well, if I'm good at something, I'm bad at something. But to have that level of awareness, that's a mature thing.
Yes, definitely.
Even if you don't have the words or the way to express that understanding. So,
Joe, one thing I'm noticing about these kids now, parents put a lot of stress on them.
yeah.
You know, unwarranted stress.
Yeah, and I fear we live in a time where we're overexposing our children to things that they're not emotionally or even mentally or otherwise just prepared for, because they're kids.
Yes.
Right? They lack the context for the things they're experiencing. They certainly lack the wisdom to navigate it, know what to do with it, or even the understanding of why it's happening. And I worry that we're telling kids, oh, we're just exposing them to things.
Exactly.
I can give an example. I won't go down a rabbit trail with it, but something happened when my son was in elementary school, actually.
Okay.
And something happened in the culture. Let's just say that. And the adults, the parents that we putting the kids out on the playground after school to get some energy and stress out.
Yeah.
But the thing that had happened had so stressed the parents that they didn't act as a shield to the children, because it was an adult thing.
Yeah.
And so they're having conversations with my wife and I about what had happened. But then my son's coming home and he's acting as a filter. It's like, well, such and such in school said this, and it's the type of stuff that you know that an adult just gave to that kid or shared in front of that child without being that filter for that child to say, okay, they're not of an age or an experience level yet that they should be dealing with this. And unfortunately, I've just seen that a lot more where, and it's across all demographics.
Yes.
This is not unique these days, I think, anymore. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Maybe you as a professional educator have a much better lens to that. I've experienced it anecdotally through my kids being in the public school system, and it worries me that parents are no longer, at least in the general sense, acting as that filter and that protection for their kids, in terms of not overexposing them to things that they're not ready for.
Well, to piggyback off what you were saying, one thing I noticed was there's a lot of single parent households now.
Yeah, it's true.
And with that being said,
we have one of the highest, and again, this goes across many demographics.
oh yeah.
Globally, America now has the highest single parent rate in the world.
Yes.
And that's pretty frightening too,
Yeah.
because it's hard on single parents.
It is. It's very hard on single parents.
I mean, like your mom must have, at some level, must have been like Superwoman, man, because my wife and I like the idea that we're trading off kids and homework duties and extracurriculars. It's hard enough with two parents in the household.
Yeah.
One parent trying to accomplish all that, man, that's hard.
It's difficult, and when you're in a single parent household, the parent is having adult conversations around the children.
Yeah.
I remember growing up, whenever my aunts and uncles would get together with my mom, my mom would just say, okay, leave the room. Adults are talking now.
Right.
You don't need to be around us. You don't need to hear what we're saying out of our mouth.
Sure.
Those type of conversations are being held around kids now.
Yeah.
You know, those actions, the way you see your mom respond when somebody does something disrespectful to her.
Right.
You take that and you see that and you implement that in school.
And we've all known since forever that kids watch everything.
Everything.
Even if they never say a word,
Yes.
they watch and absorb everything that people do around them, especially their parents or adults in their lives. Yeah.
Definitely. So they take that, because everything's a learned behavior. They take that and they try to resemble what they see around them.
Yeah.
That's why when they come into my classroom, I always like having other adults in the room so they can see positive interactions between us. You know, so they can know, hey, okay, this is how this is supposed to be. It isn't supposed to be like that.
Do you have any sense of, and I know this isn't like something that's probably been put into analytics.
Okay.
But just the idea that for every negative experience a child has in terms of things they've been exposed to, whether that's in the household or just in neighborhood, society, whatever, how many positive reinforcement models they need to maybe perhaps overcome, and maybe that's related to the severity of the things that they have experienced too.
It's definitely the severity of the things that they
I just
have
remember
experienced.
my wife and I became licensed foster parents down in North Carolina.
Okay.
And we got towards the end of our training period, they brought in a young lady who was at NC State at the time, but she'd been in the foster system forever.
Okay.
And she told us her story that, like, she got finally placed in this fantastic family, but she said for about 4 or 5 years, even though she knew she was safe in that household, she could trust parents, because of all her previous experiences, she had to keep testing and trying her foster parents, and she said because she didn't know if she could trust that they would stay.
Yeah, I got you.
And she said it took her like 4 to 5 years of that, you know, breaking normal curfews and being out too late and whatever it took. But I just wonder, and I know it's probably not something you have an answer to necessarily, but just I wonder how many positive reinforcements, just as people, we need in our lives, those consistent good models to outweigh whatever negative models that we might experience.
Let's think about that one situation, Joe. She had to continue to push the button to see if they were really going to keep her.
Yeah.
Just imagine that. Because she's been thrown away so many times that she had to continue. These parent people are loving on you.
Yeah.
But I have to continue to push the button to make sure this love is real.
Yeah. It's almost like she wanted it, but she was afraid she couldn't keep it.
Exactly. Or she didn't know how to handle it.
That's
because
true.
she never had it
That's
before.
true. Absolutely.
You know?
That's right. That's right on.
So just talking to these kids.
Yeah.
And just having these conversations with these boys. And you wonder how many positive interactions these kids need to just overtake a negative interaction that they have.
Right.
Well, when they come into the classroom, the first week or two, I always used to tell my students, only thing I want you to worry about is your education. I don't want you to worry about any other outside factors at the moment. I don't want you to worry about what if this kid is going to laugh at me for saying a wrong answer. I don't want you to worry about any of that. Only thing I need you to focus in on is understanding the material that I'm delivering to you. I'm going to take care of everything inside this room. If somebody laughs at you, I'm gonna get on them. If somebody's trying to bully you, come tell me. I'll handle it. Because I don't need you to get suspended from school.
Yeah.
Because you're missing information.
So you're lifting those burdens off those kids.
Alleviating.
Yeah.
And when they come in, it's a sigh of relief. I don't have to worry about any of that. All right? And parents are very grateful of that. You know, hey, Mr. Beck, I have a son. He's dealing with a lot right now.
Yeah.
But when he comes to school, he knows that you're not going to allow anything to happen to him while he's here.
Now, when I was talking to Donald, gosh, this conversation goes back a little ways. He and I were talking. He was telling me some of your story.
Okay.
And I know he said that you had a tremendous success in the classroom.
Yes.
As it relates to a group of kids that were not doing very well.
Yes.
But then their marks were off the charts on the standards of learning.
Yes.
Is that correct? So
oh, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what happened there.
So my first year in 4th grade,
yeah.
just building those relationships with those students. I still was playing basketball, adult league basketball. So I would take some of the boys to my games, take them out to eat, go to their football games, their rec games.
Yeah.
Just be that person there, giving them that extra motivation. You know, that extra cheerleading for them in and outside of the classroom. Yeah. I got them to just trust what I was teaching them and telling them.
Yeah.
And with that being said, when they took that SOL test, I had 22 kids. I had 20 out of 22 kids pass. And with the kids that didn't pass in 3rd grade, they're considered recovery kids.
Right.
So when they got to 4th grade, I had them pass. So they actually count a point and a half, not just one.
Okay.
So 20 out of 22.
Because the year before they had not.
Exactly. 20 out of 22 kids came out to 90%. But because so many of them were recovery, I ended up having a pass rate of like 105, 110 my first year in 4th grade.
Yeah.
My principal looked at me like, okay, what did you do?
Right.
And I was like,
because it's one thing if you've been in this system for like, you're like an experienced educator, right?
Yes.
But first year with that age group and that subject matter.
Yes.
Yeah. So what happened?
Man, just believing.
Yeah.
Just believing in them. Not turning them down when they do something wrong. Understanding the way they process information.
Yeah.
Giving them that confidence that they need. Who knows? That might have been the first time that they really had somebody believe that you can't do it. I used to tell them all the time, why can't you do it? I've never believed in gifted regular kids and sped students. Never. I always sat back and be like, you're not no different than they are.
Yeah.
They just might try a little harder than you. Or somebody's told you that you can't do it.
Right.
But you can.
Yeah.
You just gotta try. That's it. And I've always been a firm advocate for that. I've never came in and said, oh, that kid is smart. Yeah, everybody's smart in their own way.
Yeah.
So believing in them, telling them this, it pushed them. I had a kid make a 600, a perfect score on the SOL. Joshua, one of my 4th grade, my 2nd grade, second year teaching. So just giving them that, man. And don't get me wrong, I went home and made sure I studied the material to make sure I can deliver it to them effectively.
Sure.
But I always used to tell them, if you pass the SOL test, it's because of you. I had nothing to do with it. You believed in me and you actually listened. But if you fail, it's because of me. Because I didn't get to you. And I firmly believe in that to this day. To this day. I need to see some type of growth being made. From the time you walk in that room as a 4th grader to the time you're about to leave as a 5th grade student.
Did that ever, does that ever, what would I say, slow you down a little bit? If for example, a student didn't advance as far as you thought maybe they could have, you know, it's like, because I'm with you on that. If I see, we talked earlier that I worked at the University of North Carolina for about 12 years and worked directly with students. And you know, we get them sometimes late in the year and they'd be like, oh, I don't know, I'm struggling or whatever. And we would just stop, we'd have conversations and I would go, all right, let's look back to August when you started the school year, where you were at and what we talked about and what you needed help with and what you weren't doing well with. And let's look at where you're at now. And yeah, but it's not where I want to be. I said, well, that's good. That's good. But you've got to look back on what you did, where you were and where you are now. And if you've made progress along that route, then, hey, you should be proud of yourself.
Exactly.
And that should motivate you to take, to keep pushing because, you can keep progressing like that. But I'm sure there's days, too, where you're like, I know you got more in you now. Come on.
Definitely a lot of days that I was like, man, this
sounds like you might have some coach in you there too.
Oh yeah, man. I wanted to coach football and basketball.
Yeah.
But I was like, at this point, let me focus in on my career.
Yeah.
And then later on, I might tend to lean back into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. But piggyback back off what you were saying.
Yeah.
I might have had maybe 1, 2, 3 students who didn't actually pass.
Yeah.
But I'm setting them up for success as they grow in the later years.
Right.
Now I've shown you how to study.
Yeah.
Now I've shown you how to prepare and make yourself a mathematician.
Yeah.
So now we can transition and do what we're supposed to.
Well, let's do a quick transition. I want to wrap up with this.
Okay.
You got this cool, colorful book right here, folks.
Yes.
This is your book. Mm-hmm. And a graphic novel by Barry R. Beck Jr., Barry's Mathematical Journey. Mm-hmm. Tell me about this. You've got a website, you got a webpage up.
Yep.
And tell us, what is it, and what are you hoping that comes out of it?
Man, Barry's Mathemagical Journey. It started off about last year around this time, just being in the classroom with students and saying, hey, I want to reach as many kids as possible.
Yeah.
I felt like I was isolated inside that one room with just those kids.
Right, yeah.
Even in the position I'm in now, I'm only confined to my building. Mm-hmm. What can I do to impact youth across the world?
Okay.
Let me come out with a book. All right, let's write a book about some of the difficulties I had in math in 2nd grade. Mm-hmm. How me and my best friend Jorge, who's from Mexico, but math is universal.
Yeah.
And the way it was being presented to us, we just couldn't understand it. We didn't understand it.
Yeah.
So that's primarily what the book is about, how I came into 2nd grade, had all the potential in the world, was big up, thought I was a mathematician. Mm-hmm. Got in 2nd grade, my 2nd grade teacher was like, you're not as good as you think you are. However, let's work. Let's work. And a lot of frustrations happen between me and Jorge, and what happens when you start getting frustrated because you're not getting any of the answers correct. You start not paying attention in class.
Yeah.
All right, and then you find yourself falling farther and further and further behind. But then someone comes along and says, hey, you can do it. Mm-hmm. Just let me present it to you in a different way.
So this is, again, you and I talked, but this is a book for kids.
For kids. Graphic novel. They're intrigued by the pictures in the book.
Yeah.
Definitely keep their attention throughout the entire story. It's a series.
Okay.
So right now, we're digging into the problem of the story. Okay. Why I'm not learning math. Why I get frustrated when I don't get a math question correct. The typical behaviors of students that happen inside the classroom.
Right.
When they start missing multiple problems, they become frustrated. And they don't know how to let off their frustration because they haven't been taught how to articulate their feelings yet.
Yeah, right.
So that's primarily what the first book is about. The second book is going to still stem on place value. However, it's going to dig deep into different types of representation, concrete representation, pictorial representation, and then tie that back into the abstract models to figure everything out. But we have
I
to
have
start.
No idea what he's saying. It's like,
so more hands-on.
It's really articulate, but I don't have the background to know what. But no, it sounds right on the money.
Yes,
so are you trying to get? How are you trying to get this in the hands of kids, or how can kids get hold of it?
Man, you can get a hold of the book by going to my website at www.mathmagicaljourney.com. You can follow me on Instagram at mathmagical_journey. And then you can go straight to the website there. You can also get the book at barnesandnoble.com. I'm on Amazon, Books A Million, different platforms you can purchase the book. But if you want to get to me firsthand, just go to my website. Get to know Barry. It's an actual component of my website. Send me a quick message. I'll make sure I get back to you on that message, and then we can go from there.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So are you hoping that maybe this is also something you could get like in school libraries?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. That's the primary thing. I want to get them in as many classroom libraries, school libraries as possible.
Yeah.
Just so the kids can just see it. Just see that, hey, this person comes from a similar background as me. However, it's not how you start, but how you finish.
Sure.
But how you finish. They need to see it. Because a lot of things, you can tell someone a story. But when they actually see the development of a character, because that's what this book is about, character development.
Yeah.
Right? You can be like, hey, maybe I can do this. I'm just not mature right now at the moment.
Yeah.
But as I get older, that maturity might start to come
in. I am a firm believer in story. And I think most of us, if we took a moment to pause and think about it, the things that really motivate us in life, or at least the formats that do, are things like books, stories in books, movies, which is, again, you're generally telling a story. But if you can see yourself as a person in the story, that's where the magic, I think, really happens. That's where things resonate really deeply with us as people. It's like, I can relate to this character. And sometimes we bond, by just experiencing the character in a story without even understanding fully why we're bonding with that character. And it might just be they've been through similar things as us, or maybe they're just like us in general. And yet we tell stories to also talk about rising above where we started, and becoming the type of people that I believe that God put us on this planet to be. I think all of us are in some form of process to becoming, and not just kind of settling for where we've been or who we are right now even. And I tell you what, Barry, that's what you're doing in the classroom and now trying to expand it out beyond the classroom. Man, that, to use your own word, that is magical.
Yes, sir.
And even if it's math, you don't like math, folks. I mean, it's okay. Not everybody does, but there are a lot of kids out there that might, math is infused into every aspect of the world and the universe. And so there's so many applications to it. Man, if kids can grasp hold of mathematical concepts, and maybe they just need somebody to tell them you can. Sky's the limit. You're capable of it. And you're doing that, man. Yes. You're doing that. Barry, I want to say thanks for coming in, man. You've inspired me today, and I mean that. I mean that wholeheartedly. Folks, if you need to scroll back in the video and find the information again, please go to his website. I haven't read the book yet myself, but these are the types of things that we need for our kids. For that we all need to rally around our kids, even if it's not a book, that we need to stand by the kids in our communities, the kids on our fields and on our courts and on our tracks, or just in our neighborhoods, and just tell them, like, you can. We believe in you. As the fire truck goes by out here. We set off the alarms, Joe. We set off the alarms. We did this one. We did that. But Barry, I want to say thank you for coming in, man.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate
and
you.
Thank you beyond that, way beyond that, what you're doing for kids to lift them up and to propel them forward into who knows what they can accomplish, as they go forward.
They just need that one person.
You're it.
That's it.
You need to. We need to tag some of y'all too and say, hey, you're it as well.
You it. Takes a community. I
think in the years that my wife and I have served as missionaries, sometimes it's as simple as just walk fully in what God puts in front of you in the moment, and whoever's in that sphere of influence that you carry with you. Just do the most good and be the most good you can do in that. And I think, man, you are doing that wholeheartedly, brother.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. And folks, please go check out his website and what he's doing, and what he's going to be offering to your kids too, or some kid that you might know that needs just the encouragement, somebody just to stand beside them and believe in them, that there's so much more they're capable of. And I know this isn't technically a sports story, but it has sports origins. And I just want to say this to all of you folks out there, that you know, at the end of the day, sports is just a game, and we all only get to play it for a little while, even if we're exceptional at it. We all get told at some point that we can't play the kids' game anymore.
Yes.
But what we take from it and what doors it opens and what opportunities it affords us, we need to make sure we maximize those. And if we've already grasped hold of those opportunities, we need to reach back like Barry's doing, and Donald Smith and Jackie Harris and
Yes.
so many others, reach back and make sure the kids behind us have the same motivation and opportunities, or even better ones than we had going forward. So, man, thanks so much.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it.
All right, everyone. This is Barry Beck Jr. Mathemagical Journey.
Mathemagical Journey. Barry's Mathemagical Journey.
Barry's Mathemagical Journey. Please check it out.
All right.
We'll see you next time, guys.